So they did move out on this movement that Harold spoke about. And with this whole purpose of creating what we call this thing called financial well-being. Well, I started that as my opening, but it was interesting. He said, I've been with the company for 30 years, and that's true, 30 plus, and the plus we won't talk about. But early in my career, this whole thing around financial education and financial empowerment was something that was personal. Because it was easy to sit around the table listening to people that had make choices and decisions when people that did not have were going to be impacted by it. And so how could I level the playing field to take all these big words out of this thing called money and make it interesting enough and simple enough that everyone could benefit? So today, for the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to go through this 5 steps to debt-free living that we've created as a company, but I'm going to use Eric as a basis. So we do have some ground rules. The ground rule is this isn't a monologue, it's a dialogue. I'm not going to be going through that deck because all of you guys can read, but everything in that deck we're going to talk about. Eric just walked out. Anything you say, I can and I will use as a part of this exchange. You are welcome to push back, and I really don't care if you push back, because the more you push back, I'm going to push the other way. But at the end of the day, I'm also going to tell you, I'm not going to teach you about money. We're going to talk about our behaviors that impact how we interact with money, because money is an energy, and how our behaviors have a lot to do with our money choices and our money ways. So Eric mentioned in his introduction of himself that he does not call himself an owner. That he's just the E in the name. So Eric,
yes.
I need you.
Oh. I'm going to make it, man, too.
So my question to you is, why do you choose not to call yourself an owner? Each one of us are owners. Each one of us are a business. Each one of us possess wealth. Why is that important? Anybody have any idea? She's talking about debt. She's supposed to be speaking about debt, and then she's telling us each one of us is an owner. Why would that make a difference?
Your perspective of how you're going to deal with your ownership and your responsibilities as an owner versus every other way we look at it.
Your perspective. Anybody else?
Yeah, you treat your business a lot more important than you would treat just going to a job or something like that. So being an owner.
You treat your business with a different level of regard. Anyone else?
Maybe say you treat your business at a different level. I feel like as a person, you have to do that for yourself too, before you can do that for a business.
So you see value in yourself. You're so on point. Because one of the reasons why many of us are in debt is because someone else took the ownership. Think about it. You really gotta have this car. Don't matter how long it takes to pay for it. You roll up into the dealership. They ask you, how much can you afford a month? They don't ask you about your other responsibilities. Don't even ask you how you're gonna come up with that number that you just gave them. They said, how much can you afford a month? The dealership is operating in a realm of ownership. They own the dealership. They have fleet or vehicles. Their responsibility is to transfer the liability, i.e. the debt or the automobiles, onto you in exchange for you providing them cash whether it's the cash in your pocket or the cash via a loan, so that then they have the freedom to continue in their ownership business. In that process, they have transferred to us the liability or the debt. However, we also have the thing. We have the thing, but the thing has depreciating value, i.e. it's not worth what it was when we rode in it the first time and we smelled it and it smelled good and they convinced us, you gotta have this, don't you want this? You're gonna figure out however you're gonna be able to keep it. You're gonna pay for it for 7 years if necessary. Yet you don't have the same freedom as the dealership has, because you've given them cash either directly or via a loan, and you have weight, ownership. They're not going to tell you that if you're financing this for 7 years, you financed it too long, that you shouldn't finance a vehicle for more than 36 months. They're going to take what you said that you could afford and they're going to make it fit, and then they're going to determine how much they're going to charge you for that privilege based on the information they pull off of 1 or 3 profiles, Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion, which is giving them a numeric number, which is determined how you manage the relationships that you've had before, or how you've managed ownership that you've had before. And then they're going to give you a cost associated with that, i.e. the interest rate for the privilege of money. And you're still trying to figure out how all this happened, but you're happy because now you have a car. You're happy until 3 months down the road, something else happens, and you barely had enough of that car payment that you told them that you could afford when you rolled up there. And then you're going to try to figure out how you're going to pay it. And perhaps the first thing you stop paying is the car insurance. The dealership doesn't care anymore because they've received their funds. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Or perhaps it's the house that you want. And so instead of you being able to qualify for a 30-year mortgage, someone, it's not going to be Harrol, will say, well, you know what, we can get you in a 40-year, because if we stretch it out to 40 years, the likelihood of you being able to afford the payments based on the numeric system is greater. And all the time, we're accumulating things versus having ownership of cash. And so the question is, why? Because if we think like an owner and we value ourselves, then what's more important to us is this freedom to be able to make decisions and have choices, and we're not weighted down by things that come as a result of debt. So how many of us, if I asked you to look at how much you actually have to work with on a monthly basis, would say that more than 50% of the income that you have to work with on a monthly basis is going towards paying some type of debt? And you don't have to raise your hand, just think about it.
Yeah.
If I asked, do you have $2,000 saved in the event of emergency? Would that answer be yes? If I asked you if you had more than $30,000 saved for retirement, would that answer be yes? If I asked you if you had 6 times your gross income saved to retire, would that answer be yes? If I asked you whether or not you had a will in place, what would that answer be? Is there a power of attorney in place?
Life insurance.
Is there life insurance or you said that twice.
Yeah.
You want to say it one more time?
Life insurance.
I got you, Eric. If you work with me, I got you.
Yeah, man.
Is there a medical power of attorney in place? If you got the call that your loved one is gone, because funeral homes are a cash business. It's the best business to be in. Because you can't roll up in a funeral home saying, can you take care of me on credit?
No, sure can't.
You can't even go to a cemetery and say, can you hook a sister up on credit? I didn't even realize. Yeah, I lost my father 3 years ago.